What if the person sleeping next to you had an entire hidden life, and your first instinct wasn't to leave, but to find a way in? Today's guest is Charlene Elsby, a doctor of philosophy, former professor, and one of the most distinct voices in dark fiction today. Her work sits at the intersection of extreme horror, existentialism, and working-class realism, where the scariest thing is never the violence itself, but the human logic behind it. She's the author of Hexus, The Devil Thinks I'm Pretty, Violent Faculties, Red Flags, and her newest novel, Poor Damned Souls. This is the Dark Mind Podcast. If you enjoy the show, you can support it for free by subscribing to my YouTube channel. Your support helps keep the dark conversation alive. So without further ado, I give you Charlene Elsby. Charlene, welcome to the show.
Vince, hello.
Thank you for joining me on this fourth day of June 2026 to discuss your new novel, Poor Damned Souls.
Excited to be here.
So to give a brief synopsis of the book is a bleak, darkly funny descent into one woman's unraveling. Our nameless narrator works the morning shift behind the glass at a check-cashing business called The Money Store and lives with her partner, Scott. When she starts to suspect that he's cheating, she does what any of us might be tempted to do. She begins to investigate. What she finds is not just another woman, but something far worse, and the discovery doesn't send her running. It pulls her in, and that's where the story takes off. So, in Poor Damned Souls, what do you think actually wounds the narrator more? The fact that Scott kills, or that he hid that part of himself from her?
I believe that our narrator is wounded more by the fact that he has hidden this part of himself. And I think that is kind of a recognition where she knows that we're all capable of violence. And she admits that to herself, but she fundamentally wants to know him. She believes that a partner needs to reveal themselves and exist intertwined with their chosen one. And so the fact that he is doing things of which she is completely unaware, when she could be taking part, when she could be consulted, when she just wants to feel included, I think that hurts more. That is the wound.
And does she feel this connection with him once she finds out about what's going on that kind of taps into either a belief she develops right then or a belief that she's always had, that we're all, depending on the situation, capable of violence, and maybe even capable of violence for reasons more than just simple self-defense?
Yeah, and I wonder if what's going on here is she recognizes Scott's violent tendencies. She recognizes her own violent tendencies. She feels this connection to him and what he's doing, but she can't say anything. Like, he has already kind of rejected her from that situation by not including her in the first place. So she wants to feel connected. She feels like she could, but she can't, because there's this, not just societal, but, societal for one, it's not cool to murder people, but for a second,
listeners at home, don't do that.
don't do it. For two, like, she feels like she could really contribute to the situation. But he already decided not to let her just by going off on his own.
So that kind of leads me into my next question. It feels like it's less about heartbreak and more like possibly a fight over rank and control.
Mm-hmm.
What is she really afraid of losing?
Oh my goodness. I think my therapists ask me that on a regular basis. Like, what is the actual fear here? Uh-huh. And I'm thinking about, like, in the abstract. All right. So, she wants to know him. She fears that she can't. And one of the things that's so frustrating about other people and how they exist is how they exist completely outside of our control. And they have a completely other consciousness that is private to us. We can't read minds. So as long as someone is alive and thinking, they are going to be something that is beyond our reach as separate other humans. And I mean, I take comfort in that myself. Like, I don't want my thoughts to be public or readable by anyone. But when it comes to the people we love and or are obsessed with, the idea is to try to contain them and to put them into a realm where they can be completely known. So there is a loss of control just where other people are existing, in a way completely separate from us. And I think that one of the reasons that we kill people, we as in humanity, is to...
Not me and you.
Not you and I. We already went over that. We decided it's bad.
Yeah. We came to the conclusion before the show, listeners at home. We talked it out, and we're not going to kill anybody.
We figured it out. But one of the reasons that humans kill other humans is because they can't stand them going on in a way that can't possibly be controlled. And as long as someone else is alive and thinking and doing and exhibiting their own free will and their capacity to think and have private thoughts, then they can't be controlled. This is part of our radical freedom as humans. Like, we can think whatever we want and do whatever we want all of the time. So yeah, I've been thinking about this for a while, ever since I was reading Being and Nothingness by Jean-Paul Sartre. And he's talking about how the only way to really own something is to destroy it. So we cannot actually possess something or have something within our power unless we have that capacity to kill or destroy it. And I think he's talking about burning down a house or a barn, but I think the same applies to other people. The urge to contain them goes so far that they can't possibly be contained while they are still alive, and thus must be destroyed. So out of a love and passion to want to absorb and contain the other, we have to murder them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that would be the only way to get complete control. Not that control is something that we should aspire to get over somebody, but you can't stop them from thinking what they think unless, we develop some sort of AI thought identifying contraption that'll monitor their thoughts and apply behavior modification like electric shocks or something. But I guess even then still wouldn't do it.
Yeah. So I think, like, you asked what the ultimate fear is. The ultimate fear is that people will go on to exist separately.
Yeah.
And in a way that is completely outside of our control and possibly threatening.
I know you're a doctor of philosophy, PhD. So you were talking about that part that we don't let anybody else see, which kind of reminds me of like the Jungian shadow self. And I know Jung is more like psychology rather than philosophy, but there's a lot of philosophy intertwined. What are your thoughts on what you spoke of, that part we don't want people to see and the shadow self, and if maybe control is the ultimate immersion with the shadow self, which his prescription was not immersing with it, but integrating with it.
I'll have to give you a disclaimer because I'm not intimately familiar with the Jungian shadow self. But if I assume that it's like the part of us that we don't want other people to see,
simply put,
then I think that's really fun to explore. Because, I mean, part of the fun of writing these books is that you get to reveal that and kind of give an unfiltered access to the consciousness beyond what we would say in conversation, because we can hide it. We're hiding it in fiction. This is all fictional. Nobody really believes this. So, we can present this unfiltered stream of consciousness that other people relate to, because they are thinking these things, whether or not they choose to reveal them. And I wonder why we don't. I mean, is there any actual danger in revealing the underbelly of humanity? Or is it a social construct?
I would say the social construct of the social contract. Like, it's almost like dating somebody. It's like you're not supposed to just reveal all your issues at once. Otherwise, it's like hitting somebody in the face with a fire hose. Just little sips of water.
Oh, but that's what I do. I just
is that what
lay
you do?
it out.
You just lay it out.
Here's all my bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But like, why does it have to be? Whether you engage in that or not, why? At least for a lot of people, does it have to be this dance? Why can't it just be, I mean, I know it kind of takes the romance out of it, but why can't it just be a transaction? why can't we get all the bullshit out of the way so we don't waste each other's time,
That, I would love that. Like,
yeah.
I think that's the correct way to go about things, and I aim to do that. It's like, here is all my bullshit, but I think I'm hot enough that you'll put up with it. How about you? What do you think? But yeah.
The hotness to crazy ratio is skewed in the hotness direction. So, I mean, come on, guy.
Come on. So, what about, okay. Now I'm thinking of, like, we all have our own bullshit. And when we're talking about the shadow self and the violent tendencies we mentioned before, like, people have these in common, and they read my books and they tell me they relate to them. And I'm like, you psycho, that's sick. No, kidding. But if they also have these thoughts, if they are also just fucked up as we are, then why is it that we fear the bullshit of the other more than our own? Or do we have this fundamental fear of self that we are projecting onto other people, such that when they reveal their bullshit to us, it appears scary and threatening, even if we have the exact same thing?
Exactly. Well, when she finds out, her first move is to investigate rather than confront him. Why was that the right instinct for her?
Okay, I think the investigation is partly denial and partly this attempt to know everything. So, from the denial standpoint, she is told something. She does not necessarily want to believe it, because it means there's going to be a significant upheaval for her. So, an investigation and just continuously looking into the situation is going to provide endless opportunities for something to come out that contradicts everything she has learned so far and makes everything okay again. Like, we know that's not going to happen because she already knows she's fucked. But as long as she keeps acting and moving in that direction, she feels like there's a possibility that maybe everything actually is okay. We can, I don't know, find some kind of explanation that's going to make this all make sense and make it go away. It's pathological, for sure. But she does it anyway. But from the second point of view, where she wants to know everything, that's trying to bring the other within her realm. And it's kind of more fun. Like, if you were investigating somebody who doesn't know they're being investigated, like
intrigue.
Because that's when you get the real unfiltered stuff. She's not going to just ask him.
Yeah, I mean, knowledge in itself is a form of control. And then kind of the cream on top of that is knowledge that the other person doesn't know you have.
Yeah.
You know, the cream on top of control.
Like, think about the universe and just how we try to study it scientifically. It's like we are just trying to bring that shit under our thinking so that we have some way to predict what the future holds. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And I was just in my head, I had philosophy as well. Like one of the things, like, I don't know if you blend philosophies to kind of sculpt your worldview or if you just kind of maintain some sort of philosophical or epistemological nihilism. But at least when I was first reading philosophy in the past and I stumbled across somebody that seemed like they had it all figured out, I just like, it was almost orgasmic. I mean, just, the symmetry and the poetry of just explaining consciousness and this and that. And of course, like, I just keep on finding holes in every theory that I read. But is that something, do you have kind of a framework, or are you just like, bits from here, bits from there, I have my own system?
Yeah. That's how I got into philosophy too, is by, picking up this book, at the time that I would have called nonfiction. And then having those moments where you seem to completely understand what they are getting at and think that they are right and that this knowledge is going to give you a way of handling the universe that you didn't have before, that is so satisfying. That is of philosophy. So I have my own system. And so what happened is I went to school and I found a mentor, and I decided that he was right. He is right. And there is some insights we can gain about the universe by adopting this method, but it is a method that is pulled from aspects of Aristotelianism, Stoicism, phenomenology, and existentialism all together. And so, like, what I did in one of my degrees is trace the development of ideas from where they started in Aristotle to the present day, because you can actually see who was writing about who and responding to who throughout the 2,000 years this has been happening, and figure out where our contemporary concepts started in the Greek texts. And then you can see also where they got all fucked up by people who didn't understand them properly or misapplied them. And then we can correct those little difficulties and come up with something that it feels so true and valid for the moment that you get that aha insight moment where it feels like you've grasped something about the universe that has heretofore been hidden to humanity in general. And I think we pull these little bits of insight out from the unknown, like the other side of our known reality, and we adopt them into our worldview, and then they become part of the universal consciousness. So there is, a huge chance that in 50 years this will all be obsolete or incorrect. But at the moment, I think this is the way to go.
So your current system, you don't, as of right now anyway, you don't find anything, there's no aspect that you still find wanting. You're just you're pretty satisfied with the way your personal philosophy works as far as your understanding of life, the universe, and just how to comport yourself societally.
No, there are still aspects of uncertainty. And I think that's built into the system. There's an image, and I forget where it came from, but it's the difference between looking at something through foggy glasses or looking through clear glasses at fog. And I think what we're looking at now is at fog. So we have the tools we need, and I think this is the phenomenological method, to look at reality for what it is, except what it is constantly evading our grasp, just like that other person.
Yeah. And listeners at home, I apologize for going off into the weeds. It's just not every day that I get a PhD in philosophy on my show. So Just quick question, and I promise we'll keep going with the book. But do you believe Nietzsche's childlike state that he died in was the result of syphilis, or do you think he, like in a metaphorical sense, flew too close to the sun? He got too close to the answers that he just kind of lost his mind?
Oh, that is a hard call. I mean, we have these letters that describe the symptoms of syphilis. It is a totally more romantic notion to think that he just gained too much insight and had to revert into his own consciousness and stop communicating. But we have these other individuals who think that they gained some kind of insight, and what they did with it is like write 40,000 pages of philosophy that we are still sifting through for the past 100 years. So I'm not sure that seeing too much is necessarily debilitating, which makes me doubt that it was an end to understanding. Like he understood enough and had to stop.
Yeah. The thing I likened it to is, have you ever spoken to a microphone, like on a PA system?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're a teacher. Of course you have. Sorry, listeners at home. Sometimes I'm a little dumb. And you've gotten feedback, right? Because the knowledge that you're speaking gets too close to the source and it starts this endless feedback loop. That's kind of what I think about in my head when it comes to him. And I don't know if it's accepted, but one philosopher, Peter Shosted Hughes, I read his writings on Nietzsche that he experimented with psychedelics.
Oh, really?
I
wouldn't put it past him.
Okay, well, judging from your reaction, then it's not commonly accepted. I think this might be his theory, possibly, but yeah.
I mean, all the cool kids were doing absinthe.
Yeah, the wormwood was supposedly psychedelic.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense to me. Okay, now I'm thinking of Aristotle, and he's got this theory of perception where if you like exceed the capacity of a sense organ, then that destroys it, and this is what causes death in some instances. Okay, so if you see something that's way too bright, it can blind you. If you hear something that's way too loud, it can cause deafness. And if you are touched too hard, as in you get squished by something, it will destroy your capacity for touch and that kills you.
Yeah.
Now, what if that same principle applies to cognition? And then you think too hard and are utterly too rational and it destroys your capacity for rational thought. Maybe that's something that happened to Nietzsche.
Yeah. Just something I wanted to throw out there.
It's so fun to think about.
Yeah. Well, circling back to the book, the money store, which is basically a payday loan type of establishment, seems built to wear down whatever empathy you walk in with. What does that job do to how she values a human life?
It destroys her concept of value. Okay, so this aspect of the book is autobiographical. I know what I'm talking about because I used to work at a payday loan center when I was going to school. And I remember the first time that, people come in and they have a sad story and they're going to tell you their sad story and you feel extremely empathetic and like you want to do whatever you can to help them. You want to cash a check even though it looks suspicious. You want to give them a loan even though they haven't got the credibility to say that they're going to pay it back and you're going to do this for them. And they told you a story, so you're going to do it. And it's sad, and it's like, I think we all do whatever we can to try to help people in the world if we sense some kind of suffering. But then they come back. They come back 2 weeks later and they tell you the same story. And they do it again and again and again until you eventually realize that some people just have sad stories as a way of manipulating the emotions for other people to get something that they want. And then you feel like the world has taken something from you, this capacity to empathize. They misused it. And you're not going to feel so easily next time. And then you just start thinking badly of other humans who would do this to you, who would make you feel something. And then it turns out they see you as a means to some end.
Well, what did you, and I guess let me set this up just a little bit. Anybody that's ever been in, like, I don't even know what the common chain of the payday loan stores are these days in this area, but if you've ever been, based on the fact that there is cash on hand and that some of the interactions might get a little heated, they're behind glass, and there's talk of our narrator having access to a panic room if anything should hit the fan, as well as a safe that's on a 15-minute timer. So once you enter the code, it's not going to open until 15 minutes later to kind of dissuade people from holding you up and robbing you. So what did the glass partition at the money store stand for?
No, I'm just thinking of what it meant to me when it existed.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. And
oh, you mean you as an employee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing that always got me about the glass is it's bullet resistant. It's not bulletproof, it's bullet resistant. Like somebody actually did the math and they're like, how many shots does this need to take to give you time to run to the back? And they could have spent more money and made it more resistant, but they didn't. They decided that this was going to be this level of investment. So it felt like, an uncaring method of devaluing the lives of employees who are viewed in terms of their profitability. And so it's like they're willing to, lose somebody every now and then by just, cheaping out on the glass a little bit. It's still bullet resistant, so protective. It is going to give you time to run, but you gotta run. You can't walk. So
everything's on a balance sheet.
I always thought it was funny that they're doing that kind of calculation in the background, and it is on the value of a human life.
Yeah, I had Chris Panettiere on the show, and he's an author, writes psychological horror, and he's also a lawyer, and he was actually one of the first lawyers to litigate the mesothelioma cases where people were contracting that from the use of talcum powder because the talcum powder had asbestos in it. And so I was asking him, much like you were talking about human life becoming part of a math equation on a balance sheet determining, the budgetary restraints or constraints they have and whatnot. I was like, so I'm assuming you've seen the film of Fight Club?
Oh, you bet.
Or even read the book, I'm sure. So I was like, so in the film, when they're in the plane, and he's explaining how he works for this insurance company and he goes and checks out possible recalls for things involved with vehicles and says that if the cost of issuing the recall is more than paying the liability claims from, injured occupants, they just go with that. He's like, yep, I've had that same kind of paperwork showing those, math equations, for lack of a better word, in Discovery. It's like, God damn.
Yeah.
That is intense. I thought that was just for the film.
And we're all born into this system.
Mm-hmm.
I did not choose to participate, and yet here I am, and my means of survival depend on my enthusiastic acceptance.
Indeed.
Fun.
Well, as far as Scott's attempt to do what killers sometimes do and keep surveillance and or trophies in the form of pictures and the like, having a folder labeled human resources seems to me somehow worse than any gore in the book. What does that kind of clean corporate language do to violence?
I think it cleans it. Like, it's a way of adopting this. I mean, what does the human resources department do? They take people and they view them as things with a determinate value that can produce a surplus value for the shareholders. But I think when Scott made that folder, he just thought he was being funny. And he thought he was doing something that wouldn't be looked at by other people. So he was trying to make it a little clinical and boring so that nobody would click on his folder. But he also thought he was being clever because these are human resources and people that he has devalued. Yeah, so that aspect to me, I think it was a funny joke. I think it was funny.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I always thought about. It never really kind of cemented in my mind, but you just gave a great description of it. I was like, why? Isn't it a little demeaning to call it human resources? Why not just say staff or something other than human resources? It literally does reduce humans to a commodity. I always thought
Employee
that was weird.
relations, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. Employee relations, whatever. I'm sure that there's got to be a better term than human resources. Like, what sociopath came up with that term?
We have to demonstrate responsibility to the shareholders.
Indeed.
We're extracting as much value from these people as possible.
Mm-hmm. Well, the narrator, kind of piggybacking off of the sanitized, almost sociopathic language of human resources, the narrator keeps the same flat, methodical voice no matter what she's describing. Almost kind of a la Patrick Bateman when he's describing clothes and people. What would it take to crack that voice?
I'm not really sure. She is dealing with some fucked up bullshit. And part of the way she deals with that is just by bringing it within her narrative. I don't know what a crack would look like. I don't know if I want to know. I think we can push people to an extent and then just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And it just, I mean, so far it's going forever.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, the more you adapt and the more you bring within your realm, the more seems possible. So, all right, phenomenology talks about this like as a changing horizon. Like the farther you walk towards it, the horizon just keeps pushing farther and farther. So like, does she even have a limit at which she will break? Or is that just death? I don't know. Are we thinking psychotic break? Are we thinking like, what's she going to do? And yeah, even the absurd violence under the end, it's conducted with this methodical but deranged sequence of events, I'll say, but it remains methodical. She's always got a point. There's always a reasoning. And I'm not sure what the loss of that would look like. I guess it would become unreasonable.
When you say phenomenology, is that the discipline that says consciousness is like a byproduct, like the steam coming from a locomotive?
I mean, consciousness is something that we all have, and it takes on the world as its object, and that's how it gains its form. It's not the byproduct so much. It is one of the defining qualities of our essence as humans. So it's something that we all have, and we just have it, and we know because we do. What I think you're talking about, and some phenomenologists believe in it, that makes the question tricky, is emergentism.
Oh, okay.
Maybe? Or, there's one where consciousness just like supervenes on top of everything. And it, supervenience theory, maybe?
Is it panpsychism? Or no, that's where consciousness is a fundamental. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is oddly like Brahman in the Hindu religion. Everything is Brahman.
Yeah, like realist phenomenology that I believe in says that most things have an element of consciousness, and that's intentionality. Like consciousness is always directed towards an object, which is intentionality. And we see that like this directedness aspect of nature is in everything. Like my cat also has goals and dreams and things it thinks about. And like trees want to grow towards the sun. So there are some things that consciousness has in common with everything in the universe, but it doesn't mean that everything is conscious in the sense that like we think about particular objects in the universe and we give them attributes and we think about them in relation and we form logical statements and et cetera, et cetera. We're not saying that trees do that. We're saying that we are always reaching for something beyond ourselves. That's what consciousness is, really. It's like the aspect of humanity that makes it reach for something else, and take it in. And I'm talking now like perceiving the coffee mug. I am taking it in. I am accessing the universe and I'm going to take it all in. We always want to move beyond, and we are always going to fail. And that's the existentialist aspect. We're always going to fail.
Do you ever get so deep in analysis you start to have like a miniature panic attack and have to ground yourself a little bit?
For me, that doesn't really cause panic. That is so exciting when it happens. And like sometimes I think that I do the philosophical analysis because it allows me to get out of the daily realities that cause the panic attacks. Like if we can retreat into the abstract and just think about these things from a purely rational point of view, without actual life intervening on us, I find that like a really fun escape. And by fun, I mean, like, it's one of the few opportunities we have to get out of our own heads and lives. If we can just get out of there and start thinking about the universe from a rational perspective, we can set it aside. We can set aside everything that's actually scary.
Yeah. Well, circling back to the book, our nameless narrator treats Scott like a problem she can solve, but the more she learns, the less she understands him. Kind of what you were speaking of, the horizon getting further away. Is that what pulled you toward knowledge that makes a person stranger instead of clearer? Kind of another thing you mentioned, are we looking at the world through foggy glasses or looking through clear glasses and into the fog? I think that was a paraphrase. I probably just butchered that.
Perfect paraphrase. Yeah. I mean, we tend both towards the unknown, and we also find it a little scary because it's so unknown. We try to just get rid of it. But when we have the chance to focus on it, it provides so much opportunity for new insight and new knowledge. Like, as we mentioned before, like we want this new insight. We want to feel that novelty of something that was not previously known that we can now bring within our consciousness. So if we truly find something that is unknown in the universe and we have that potential to gain new insights into how it functions and like how other people work, that's so much fun for us. As people, I think just like as people, we're just curious. And we want to have problems and we want to solve them. If they go on too long, we might get frustrated, but there's still this fundamental motivation to like go at them and attack the problem. And what better opportunity to solve a problem than something that is like difficult? We increase the difficulty of our problems according to our abilities. So when something becomes too easy, it's not fun anymore. We want that difficulty. So yeah, treating other people like a problem to solve it's something that we do, I think. I don't know. Do you do that? Is it just her?
You talking to me personally?
Yeah, I'm talking to you personally.
Treating somebody as a problem to solve. Well, I don't know. My first inclination is to say yes, because until I started to work at it in the past, I have had some severe problems with codependency, like especially romantically wanting to have a partner that needs me, like needs me emotionally or, whatever, which I really had to work on because my relationships were a little stormy and always ended in massive failure. So not so much anymore, but it is kind of fun. I mean, with anything, not even a person that is a romantic partner, like people at work, I observe like, man, I don't know them that well, but I feel like it would be really interesting to talk to them about this political infighting they're involved in or their own relationship or something like that. So yeah, I do. I am kind of drawn towards that, but I try to avoid it.
Yeah, and now I'm thinking that we actually have two kinds of problem solving going on here. Like there's the kind where the problem is an actual issue that you want to fix. And then there's the kind where we're solving problems, but just like what we mean by that is we're coming to an understanding of them. And this brings us all the way back to question one, where it's like, is she offended by the fact that he's killing people or the fact that Scott is just like doing it without her knowledge? And it's the knowledge aspect. Like when she's solving problems, she doesn't want him to stop. She's not trying to get more information so that she can like call the police on him or make him stop what he's doing because she thinks it's morally wrong. she doesn't think of him as like a problem that needs to be solved in that sense. She thinks of him as a problem that needs to be brought into understanding because he is currently evading what she knows about the universe. And she thinks that as long as she understands, it's going to be fine. It's not the actual actions.
Yeah.
That's fun.
What about setting grotesque discoveries right next to ordinary household routine? Like the first body she finds, there's an association with its location being having multiple lawn gnomes in the yard.
Okay. I think what we do, and I only notice this after the fact. So I am viewing all of the extreme bits of someone's reality as coming together with the mundane parts, because I think that is how it actually works. And when we try to abstract and say that the violence or the whatever is going on, like, is so far out of reality that we can't properly understand it, or like we view people as monsters for having done terrible things, or we try to separate ourselves from the people who do these violent acts by saying, there's some kind of monster. That is not true. We know because we read the news. People are doing terrible things all of the time, and they're doing it, and then they're going home and they're saying goodnight to their wives, and they're going to work the next day. And I think that is an important realization that we should all come to, is that these things are taking place within the context of a very real reality where we all live. It is not separate and distinct from us. It is very much a part. So when I think of a character who is doing terrible things, I think of them as embedded in their own universe. And at least in this situation, like, they have to go to work the next day. They just do. That's how they live. Like, it's part of the routine. Like, you have to factor in all of the extreme aspects of experience, and it's part of the daily experience. So I don't think I was doing anything on purpose when I put the extreme experience beside the mundane. I was just like, that's how it would be. I think it's real and accurate.
Yeah, I don't, like myself included, I don't think most people, when they hear about serial killers or like cartel activity where there's humans being, prostituted, sex trafficking, stuff like that, I don't think we think about, like, it's not like this dark, foreboding neighborhood with thunder, dark thunder clouds and rain and a big sign that says evil operating here. It's like a suburban neighborhood. People are just walking around. Kids are playing outside. It's a nice house, but inside there is some dark shit going on. The bind, torture, kill killer is got somebody tied up and is burning them with a blowtorch or whatever he did.
Exactly. And then with the other hand, they're waving at you out the window. Have a nice day.
Well, there's quite a bit of humor injected into it. How do you know when a scene can carry a joke and when it can't?
I think it can. I don't know.
Every scene can.
Every scene can. I mean, the way I write is very fast and word vomity. So
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Are you a pantser or outliner?
I am writing by the seat of my pants.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you. Just wanted to see.
Yeah. So I'm just going along, and if a joke occurs to me, I put it in. So I think the advantage of being a pantser is that you don't overthink things, and it all comes out kind of naturally because it follows the actual train of thought that occurred as you were writing. And part of the skill involved in being a pantser is being able to present that unfiltered and without editing as you go, because we do have this internal, like a superego that's going to say, oh, we need to hide that. We can't go that far into the narrative, and try to control what actually comes out. And so you have to be dedicated to authenticity and just allow whatever happens to happen without stifling yourself. So I think the jokes are there because they are naturally where they should be. It wasn't a mechanical putting together after the fact. It's just there it all is.
Natural organic development.
That's the one.
Well, for someone that's coming to your work, being introduced to your work through Poor Damn Souls, what should they know about the kind of horror you write and what you're after with it?
What am I after?
Readers.
But not in a threatening way.
Anytime you buy one of my books, your mailing address is emailed to me.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm after. I'm after understanding. I want to purge the demons. I want to tell stories that I think are under the form of consciousness with which we go about our daily lives, where we do put a mask over things and we relate to others as if they are playing a role in our lives and they are not, a fundamentally other consciousness to whom we can relate. So I want to strip that down and give you something that's true and accurate and raw and gets to the heart of the matter, and it's relatable, and it makes you feel like you've been understood. So if you come at this from a Poor Damn Souls aspect, it's pretty bleak, but it is something that you can, follow along and relate to. Or is that weird?
Well, I mean, if it's not weird, I don't know what you're doing here. I don't bring guests that aren't weird on my show. I am myself weird.
I get that feedback all the time, though. Like, people read a book and they're like, I related to this character so much. She's such a psycho. It's like, okay.
Well,
me too.
Piggybacking off, readers and reviews, some people call your work philosophical horror. What does that get right, and what does it tend to miss?
Okay, so I have this tendency to pull out of the narrative and think about the universal consequences of what we're doing here. So in that sense, it is philosophical. And just by writing what I'm writing, I'm reflecting on the nature of humanity and what it's capable of and questions of morality and all of that. Sometimes explicitly and sometimes just through the narrative. So it definitely gets at that. I'm just worried that if we apply that label to it, it's going to sound too hoity-toity.
Pretentious.
Yeah. I mean, and there is a market for that. I love pretentious. But it's not all pretentious.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying.
No, I said that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so much of your fiction puts people inside systems they understand completely, but can't get out of. Academic, corporate, romantic. What keeps pulling you back to that trap?
My fundamental insecurity in my own agency as a human.
Really?
I feel like, I always feel trapped within some kind of system, and I forget that I have the capacity for radical freedom and to make choices on my own, regardless of the wills and whims of others and the systems in which they're trapped. Mm-hmm.
I think that's the most honest thing I've heard in a while.
I'm sorry.
No. That's fine. That's gold.
Yeah.
I'm going to clip that shit.
All right. Yep. It's an issue.
Yeah. No, I can relate to that as well. My connection to that would be probably my terminal state of being a people pleaser, my disease to please.
Oh, God. It's the worst.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Can take away quite a bit of agency if your concern is what other people like, I saw a meme one time. It was a picture of some, tragic thing. I think it was related to war or something like that. And it said, my people pleasing tendency. And the person had a little comic bubble that said, oh my God, is that my fault?
It might be. I keep coming back to one where, the punchline is, oh, you're a people pleaser? Name one person who's pleased with you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because you can't actually please other people.
Yeah.
They are always, existing outside of our control in such a way that they're not, like, there's nothing you can do to make them, like, force them to be happy. There's no way to do that. That's not how it works.
Yeah, I think mine was tied to my parents growing up. They were always at each other's throats, eventually got divorced, but I felt like it was my job to keep them both happy because if I didn't, something bad was going to happen. So it's like, I'm a grown man. If somebody is mad at me, they can get fucked, but there's like this underlying in the background, oh, something bad's going to happen to me if that person doesn't like me or if they're mad at me for some reason.
And it's true. Like, as a small child, all of your means of survival are dependent on these people who are emotionally volatile. And if they are, like, fucked off and angry or depressed, you will not get fed. And you may die.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Valid. The world's
Valid.
like that. Let's pretend it isn't so we can carry on from the day to day.
Let's continue to push the rock up the hill.
Yeah.
Well, if someone finishes Poor Damn Souls and wants more, which of your books would you send them to next? And what would it show them that this one doesn't?
If you like that despair poverty cycle, then go to The Devil Thinks I'm Pretty. That is set in a trailer park. Our main character is a high school student and a waitress at the local diner, also in the trailer park. It's based on that period of my life, except it also leads to violence like this book does. So, yeah. And if you like the clinical, detached, ultra-violence aspect of the novel, go to Violent Faculties. That one is the one where she is a university professor doing experiments on humans, and she's going about it in this clinical, detached fashion. Lots of body horror and gore. If you want the, like, raw stories about psychological damage and shit like that, then we go to Bedlam, which is my short story collection.
Okay. So you've said a Goodreads reviewer called your work, quote, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Vantablack Academia, and that's your favorite label. What does that phrase catch that the others don't?
Oh, it's just so cool. I like the concept of Vantablack. It's like darker than dark.
All right. Hey, I was wondering what that meant. I intentionally didn't look it up because I wanted to hear about it.
Yeah, it's like a darkness that's beyond the darkness we can see. And it reminds me of the unknown and just like everything that evades our grasp. And not only does it simply evade our grasp, it's dark. So there's the Vanta aspect and the black aspect. I like that. It's so cool. And the academia part was just because, like, I wrote a book about a professor. So, yeah. But if we could apply Vanta Black just universally, it's just so cool. I need to look that up. It makes me happy to read about it.
Oh, you mean look up the
Vanta Black.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you meant the actual review.
No, just as a color.
Yeah. Well, we can do that. Let's see. Vanta Black. Is that 2 words, I'm assuming? Oh.
I'm looking at one word. A super black material. Okay, this one is applied to cars. A class of super black with total hemispherical reflectances below 1% in the visible spectrum. Okay, so it's like this sucking material. Yes.
Good God.
This is going to absorb all the light and positivity from the universe and just take it into itself and never release it again.
So
Isn't that cool?
This is a black hole, basically.
Yeah.
This has got so much gravity, it's sucking the universe into it.
It is a real black hole you can keep on the desk.
Oh, wow. This will be your next vehicle. Are you able to see this?
I can see that.
Okay.
We're looking at a Ferrari, for the people who don't know. It is painted Vanta Black, and it will eat your soul.
Oh, my God. Everybody needs a car that will eat your soul.
Right?
Oh, this one has more of a... Or I guess that's just the windows. I was going to say most of these, it's kind of a matte black.
Yeah.
I wonder
like
if
there's nothing coming off of there.
Yeah, so I guess there's no such thing as a glossy Vanta Black.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, your sentences are pared pretty down, almost surgical. What are you cutting to make the prose sharper?
I cut very little in between when I am writing and when I am editing. I have developed a clipped and technical style over time that comes from academia, but the things that I am cutting are the bad habits that academia taught me. So when you add extra words for no fucking reason. And I think Elle Nash really helped me with this. When she edited Violent Faculties, she cut all the extra words. Like every time I say in order to instead of to, we can cut that shit. And then the editor for this one was Emil Ottoman, but he was also trained by Elle Nash, and we just cut all the extra bullshit. So I think we eliminated like over 1,000 instances of the word that. Just that. And we cut them. I overuse phrases sometimes.
Have quite a bit of darlings you have to kill.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you read them, like they become super jarring if they happen too quickly in succession, because like reading happens faster than writing. So in writing, you might not notice that you have just used the word just 25 times in a page, but then you read it and it takes less time and they're all squished together in consciousness like that. And it just becomes super annoying. So those are the things that I need to look out for is repetitions and extra words.
Gotcha. Well, we've discussed the philosophy behind the story and the characters, a little bit of the philosophy and technique of the writing. Would you like to read a passage from this amazing book?
I would love to.
Outstanding.
Let's pull it out. The section I have chosen is called Reasons Why Murder is Wrong. And this is the point in the book where she is sensing her own, like, she relates to what Scott is doing. She is trying to come up with a moral reason against it. So she sits down and writes this out on paper. Reasons Why Murder is Wrong.
Gotcha.
Okay, let's go. 1. Murder is wrong because you should treat people how you want to be treated, and you wouldn't like it if they murdered you. On the other hand, the actual relationships between people are generally uneven, and there's usually someone who gets hurt more than the other person. Actually, there are a lot of people who don't seem to mind hurting other people, and it's a fact, or else you wouldn't see so many people so hurt. If hurting people is so wrong, why is everyone getting away with it? Why do people get off on it? Actually, you know what? If you murder someone, they're gone, and if they're gone, they won't have the opportunity to treat you any which way. So maybe you should treat people how you want to be treated only applies to people who remain alive after you treat them away. 2. Murder is wrong because of the other people who love the murder victims and how sad they'll be. But we always overestimate how much we care about our loved ones. I don't think anyone much liked Kate at all, and if she did have family, they'd just make a big deal of her murder on the internet and maybe start a crowdfunding campaign, and forever after she'd be the story of how their sister, cousin, friend got murdered, and it would make everyone else think they were more interesting people because of their association with her. Actually, of all the people who might have murdered Kate, her friends and family would statistically be the most likely, so Scott doing it just takes some of the responsibility off their hands. 3. Murder is wrong because the person who dies could have gone on to do a lot of great things. Except, people die early all the time. They die in car accidents and because they fell out of windows and they got sick and because of plane crashes and workplace incidents and food poisoning because they bought the wrong bagged lettuce at the grocery store. It's weird how people make a big deal out of some people dying and not others. Like, some people will die and it doesn't make the news, doesn't serve as a warning to other people. Don't get the hummus, there's listeria in it this time. Don't walk around alone at night, there's a predator. Don't work on the roof without treads on your shoes because you might fall off and the insurance company will try to dick your family out of the coverage they provide, mind you, for any goddamn reason they can think of. No, people die all the time. Murder isn't wrong just because it kills someone. Murder is wrong. 4. Because Scott and I are supposed to be married and share everything. And this is something he undertook to go do on his own. Like, we're supposed to have this close relationship and know each other better than anyone else does and change and grow old, and we're supposed to have these high and low points where we grow apart and come back together because we're legally bound to, and it would be really inconvenient not to. But this whole murdering thing seems outside the definition of a low point. He's acting like he's not married at all. If Scott wanted to murder people, he should have asked me first if maybe I'd want to be involved, like when he wanted to take up playing poker. Maybe I'd only try it a few times and decide it was boring, but it's fucking nice to be consulted. But here he is, acting like it's something he does having nothing to do with me, even though everything he does has something to do with me. That's what being married is. Murder is wrong for Scott because I should have been consulted. 5. Murder is wrong because people aren't supposed to have that much power over whether another person lives or dies. But this isn't true either. We're all kind of responsible for one another if you take a few steps back in the causal chain. Like sometimes the person in the car is at fault when there's an accident and sometimes they aren't. Cheaping out on building materials doesn't lead to murder charges. It's only when the killing takes place one-on-one where it seems to lead to issues. And does it matter if it's done in private? There's a different kind of murder where someone goes and kills a bunch of people in public. Like, I think if you really want to kill one person, you'd probably get them alone. But if you just want to kill people in general, you can do it anywhere. We're talking about killing one person, and it's targeted. Like, there's something about this one person making them a special kind of victim because Scott picked them out in particular for some goddamn reason. He didn't just pick randos. He, developed a relationship before he went and killed them. 6. Murder is wrong because it's basically cheating. Scott has to pretend not to be married to pick up these women because I'm sure they wouldn't want to be killed by a married guy. Can you imagine there's some dude looming over you with his knife out or his hands around your neck, and then for some reason you find out he has a wife at home. She expects him home at a certain hour and he's got to be done murdering by curfew? Just also because it seems like a pretty intimate relationship to have with someone. Like, I just know if I was going to get murdered by some dude, I'd want him to be single. I don't want him thinking about other women when he's doing it. 7. Which is the same goddamn reason I'm mad at Scott, because not only is he killing these women, he's fucking them and hiding it from me, and all together acting fucking sketchy, which isn't good for our relationship. So murder is wrong because it turns Scott into a sketchy fuck who lies to me all the time. And he's cheating on me. What the fuck do these other women do for him except die? I let him fuck me anywhere, except the only thing he wants to do is boring 8-minute missionary, and now he's out probably having better sex with other people. He's the one who chose to be boring with me. Murder is wrong because Scott has decided sex with me should be tedious and boring, and he still gets to have fun sex with other people, and it's not fucking fair. 8. Murder is wrong because Scott has underestimated me in every single fucking way from the start. He doesn't think he can tell me he wants to kill people. He doesn't think of me as a proper sexual partner. He fucking lies to me all the time, and that means not only does he think he can't trust me, he also underestimates my ability to tell when he's lying. I know! I can tell! I've been able to tell when Scott is lying to me from the beginning. He can't get away with anything. I may not know what he's lying about, but he gets this vibe to him, like it's extra nervous, and every time he gets the vibe, it turns out he's up to something. Murder is wrong because Scott thinks I can't tell when he's lying about it, which is disrespectful. 9. Murder is wrong because Scott is bad at it. He can't hide it, he leaves evidence behind, the wine glasses, who knows what other DNA, and he picks ugly women. Of course, I understand that you can still get off on ugly women because I was there too. I was in Scott's folders of pictures, and in Kate's apartment, and I understand, yes, ugly women are also technically fuckable, but I think if Scott was a better murderer, he'd be able to murder more desirable women. I know it makes me shallow, but I don't fucking care. People judge us by the company we keep, and when people find out about all the ugly women he's murdered, they're going to lump me in with them as if I'm another one of his lame, online, hopeless, second-tier B-team sluts. The kind of women Scott associates with. Is this how he thinks of me too? Scott is pretty attractive despite his personality flaws, so he could do better and he should. Again, out of respect for me. 10. Murder is wrong because Scott seems to be making a habit of it. And in a way, it makes all of his women kind of the same to him. Like, if he can murder one person and then another, it's like they don't matter to him. There's nothing about any one of these women to terminally satisfy his killing urge, so he's like, okay, that was good, I'm done. Instead, it's like he's ordering his favorite meal at the same restaurant again and again, always expecting the same thing. But these are very different people he's killing. Does he not know women are people? Is there something wrong with how he conceives of other people so he just can't tell the difference between them? They're all just people I could murder. Would he kill a man, though? Would he kill someone non-binary? And then she tears up the list, and she wets it and puts it in the garbage.
And scene.
Beautiful.
I so bad wanted to be a hype man, just be like, hell yeah, but I didn't want to throw you off. Fuck that guy.
Thank you for the sentiment. I could see it on your face.
I just had to hold back. Very good. Well, I know you are a busy woman, so last question. What is the life of Charlene Elsby like outside of writing?
Oh, by golly, I do my stuff around the house. I pet my cats. I go to work. I get out and write as often as I can. I like movies and cultural events. I'm really very normal. You can never trust people who say that, though.
Yeah, it's always the quiet ones. Well, Charlene, it has been a pleasure talking with you.
It has been a pleasure talking with you, Vince. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, so as we bring the show to a close, is there anything you'd like to plug, reiterate, or let your readers know about?
Oh, golly. Poor Damn Soul is about to get an ebook release, which I'm excited about. So all the ebook readers, it's coming. It should be like by the time this episode comes out. I don't know how quick you are.
2-3 weeks, something like that.
Okay, should be this week. Go buy the ebook. We can read on our Kindles.
All right, sounds good. Well, listeners at home, all links are in the description. And Charlene, thank you again for joining me.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone who tuned in. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday for a new episode featuring the best and brightest authors and filmmakers of dark literature and film. So until then, stay healthy, stay sane, and as always, thank you for listening. See you next time.